What's
up?
that?
How's it going?
What is
everybody?
up?
Welcome to IoT Coffee Talk.
Woohoo!
Hello.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You need to run the disclaimer now, Leonard, based on the pre-show conversation.
Hi, everyone. So this is the IoT Coffee Talk crew. Remember, listen, take us seriously at your own risk. We're only having fun here, and we provide this as a forum to just talk a bunch of crap about a lot of stuff. And yeah, don't take any stock advice from any of us, okay? Especially Rob.
Don't do it.
Yeah. So hey, good to see you guys. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Well, you tell us you were at the center of the world at GTC, so.
No, so was Bill. And
so was Bill.
Bill, we should have scheduled some time. We should have had dinner, dude. I don't
We
even know
should, man. You know, if I had known, I held with our partner. We had a mixer at Alexander's. You could have had you some A5 Wagyu.
Dude, are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Oh my God.
A5 for the win. Oh,
You know what, Bill? I have a sustained track record of loving you, man. Dude, I hate you now.
You know, if all you had to do was reach out and be like, "I'm gonna be here, bro. Let's go." And I mean, I got there. I mean, saw a whole bunch of stuff which we can get into, but the big thing was, I mean, we had NVIDIA, we had Lenovo, we had Dell, we had all those execs show up. We had the
Really? Wow.
yeah, we had a full room. We had a full room, man. I mean, all the stuff, all the food was ridiculous.
Oh, wow. I can only imagine. Wow. So what is that in Cupertino?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great restaurant. I mean, but,
it's one of the only Michelin star steakhouses that you'll find.
Yeah. I went there once, and my buddy from Apple, he when I dropped by, he took me there. That was really cool, and it was like freaking hilarious because it was lunchtime and we were like drinking super expensive wine.
Well, I tell you what, next time you want to go, let me know, and I'll make sure you get treated special.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, this guy is like G money, man.
I'll make sure. As a matter of fact, I'll have them bring you a bottle of one of the bottles of wines that they hold for me.
Oh, really? Is it like, opened and half drunk?
Never. You cannot buy this wine from anywhere because it's a family-owned winery from Argentina. And the name of the wine is Nosotros.
Nosotros.
Us.
I'm glad this is being recorded because I would love Leonard to enjoy an exquisite bottle of Argentinian wine. But knowing Bill and his pranks, he might be getting you France in a box with a little spout. So we need evidence.
Oh yeah.
Hey, trust me. That's one thing I don't play about is the food and wine.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. So actually, let's start off with this. Yeah, GTC definitely huge. Embedded. Last week, nobody jumped on except for Rob and I, and half the time we talked about somebody trying to mug me in Barcelona.
that's pretty exciting news, though. People want to hear that stuff.
Yeah, kind of stupid crap like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about GTC. But I'd like to know what you guys saw, because Bill and I, we were on the ground, we're rolling around with all the folks that were there. But it's like, what did you guys see? What were the impressions you guys came off with and thought was cool?
I mean, I think Jensen has that perfect combination of I'm a regular kind of guy, maybe a little humility. I'm clearly disguising the fact that maybe I'm a master salesman and marketer while trying to pretend that I'm just like, oh, I don't know, the way he gets up there, I mean, he's got that humility, it's almost like as soon as I'm done with this keynote, I'm going to go back to my job washing dishes at Denny's,
God.
No, but he's really good. I mean, right from the very beginning, obviously, of his keynote, it's like there's no script. We're just going to do this. And so now you could call bullshit and say he's like Steve Jobs and he's been rehearsing the 2-hour keynote, for weeks to nail everything. But he knows the stuff. I can't tell you how many CEOs can't go deep on their own products, or the outcomes or what they use them for. So I thought it was a great keynote. Obviously, he's got to do what he's got to do. He looked at what happened with the whole DeepSeek thing and it being a threat to their business. And so clearly in the keynote, he completely pivoted without looking like he's pivoted to just talk about how much more important inference is than training. And the whole talk was, you're going to need so much more to do inference at scale. And so much of the talk was about that, to let you know that, hey, even if you didn't need as much for training, you're going to need so much more. And he went in depth to explain why. And, it's all about tokens. And so he talks about how, the new reasoning models where they're thinking and they're going back and forth and they're checking and they're making sure they're not full of it. And it's generating 100x, 1,000x, 10,000x tokens in the inference part because it's thinking and it's doing more work to get you the right answer. And that's why you're going to need more GPUs from NVIDIA.
Yeah.
And I think that was the story he was trying to tell.
Yeah.
He was getting ready for, you're going to still need us. And then, of course, he gave the enterprise some love. He talked about, the AI factories. General Motors is going to have their assembly line for the factory to make cars. And next door is going to be the AI factory that's going to help drive the other factory and that kind of stuff. And so he told that story pretty well. It's pretty crazy stuff. And I can, people can just go like, oh my God, yeah. I'm gonna have to buy all this stuff, man.
Yeah.
Now, in the end, the only companies, at least in the near term, they're going to do the kind of things that he talked about are the very biggest, wealthiest companies on the planet. They're the only ones that could afford to build out the stuff he wants you to build out.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing is you're right, dude. His whole theme, the premise of what he was trying to sell was more is more. And I actually, I cut a podcast with the guys at Tirius and my friend Carl Freund. That's wrong direction. You got to go blues style, right? Less is more. So that's what the Chinese have done. And, it's interesting that you brought that up because the way that they talked about what the Chinese are doing, they kept emphasizing R1. I keep saying this over and over and over again. It was not the important thing. In terms of the disruption that it's going to, that it actually has started, it is on the inference side. What's more germane is V3, what happened there. And it's interesting. You can see slight hints that they're picking up on what the Chinese have really done. And it's there. A lot of people can't see it because a lot of people don't talk about V3 anymore. They really don't know what happened. And people are starting to triangulate on what I wrote about already on the outside of V3. And I think his philosophy, his view is not the right one. He needs to figure out, how do you do more with less, not more with more? And that's going to be like the huge issue.
This is the business, bro. It's not about technology. It's a business. And he's saying exactly what he needs to say to keep trillions of dollars funneling in.
No, trillions of dollars are funneling out.
Yeah.
If you start saying, less is more.
No, but I mean, but that's the whole thing in the conversation.
In that regard, you're right. For the stock price, which that was the other thing that I thought was really toxic about the event. These guys talking about stock price everywhere. it was like, what the hell are these guys doing at a developer conference? And why are we talking about stock price? I thought that was a huge, that's for me, like a sign of decline.
Well, wait a minute. Are you talking about the guys that were in the booths?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that. I mean, because first and foremost, everything that I saw was replicas of each other, right? Everybody had this little avatar screen, and all you have to do is take your camera and start videoing it, and you can see the little wheel spinning in the back because it's still super early in terms of them generating something that can be filmed. Everything looked like an alpha release or maybe a beta release at best. The use cases were few and far between.
Yeah.
And everyone has a digital twin now.
What I heard, yeah.
Everyone has a digital twin. And so I asked, I was there with some of their execs. I said, so talk to me about the digital twin stuff that you guys are your partners are doing, which they have somewhere around 400 different partners that they are either funneling money into from a marketing perspective or go-to-market perspective, something like that, because they need to generate the real business. Where is it happening? Okay?
Yeah.
Now, True North has said this is the year of revenue for us. We're 2 years old. So we've got to go make money. And when I hear them, I'm like, you guys have been at this for a while. And no one has popped out with a something that is going to sell.
Yeah.
So when I asked them about their digital, they said, oh, you know what? That's going to be our big moneymaker this year. And I was like, no, it's not, because everything that I saw is kind of weak. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, how long have they been doing it? Well, some of the ones that are ready to go to market now have been at it for 6 years. I was like, no shit. No, we've been building them for 12 years.
No, see, that's why this show is so scary. People don't understand. If you don't watch the show, you don't know anything.
You're missing out.
You're just smoking the crack pipe. That's all. And there's a lot of people smoking the crack pipe.
You're not one of the 10 to 15 people that they're watching the show. You're missing out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The whole 12 people.
It was wild to me. I can run down a list of them because I kept going by and I was taking notes on who's doing what.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they said, well, let's see what you could do with it. I said, we don't build digital twins using GPUs. Yeah. And they said, what? I said, no. I'm like, for us, it's operational. So it's all about latency.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's about leveraging the infrastructure that whoever it is, whether it's a city, municipality, whoever it is, that they already have, which is CPU. They said, well, we have one that's CPU and GPU. I said, the only thing that I would do in any instance would be to move my machine learning and AI stuff over to the GPU. The twin stuff, the twin piece of it is staying on CPU because I'm not rewriting the code.
There you go. And that's what they're kind of trying to do that with the generative AI stuff using KV cache, that whole thing with Dynamo. Do you know what I'm saying? They're trying to figure out how to make it more like a CPU, because otherwise you're actually putting it. They were even saying you put it into the CPU memory, so if the request comes back up again, boom. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the stuff. In order to see what's really happening, you have to go full stack, and it's really, really difficult. And I think there's very few people, and Jensen's probably one of the few people in the world that sees the whole friggin' thing. That, and going back to what Rob was saying, he's no dummy. He's not going to go back and start washing dishes at Denny's. He's way beyond that. Law
of big numbers, bro.
Huh?
Yeah, but Bill, you say something interesting here, because as you know, I've kind of been in the digital twin space for quite a while. Now, in the original, at least vision and what we were doing about 10 years ago, Rob was doing the same at Hitachi, is you actually build this model of a physical system. And yes, you're definitely right. It's the execution of the model that gives you value in terms of predictive maintenance, predictive this, monitoring, all that. Now, one thing that we couldn't really do well at GE is that how do you constantly make this digital twin evolve by having him learning? So for that element, you might need some GPUs, but I've never seen anybody being able to close that loop. So are you guys saying that there was all of that at GTC? People figuring out how do you create the initial digital twin model and how does it constantly keep on being synchronized with you and learning from you? Is that
But I mean, that's the problem, is that that's not happening. These things are not truly operational. And when I say operational, I mean, they are doing exactly what you're saying, right? So the fact of the matter, it does come down to a level of cost, right?
Yeah.
How much what is the cost to bring on the next data stream? And many of them are not dealing with streaming data today.
Yeah.
Right. So
I also think that the definition of digital twin is very flawed now, because the original definition was, again, how do you have a high fidelity digital replica of a physical system so you can interact or get information from that physical system through the digital twin. Now it's kind of all those thinking things and whatever, or models. So it's disconnected from the physical system to some extent. If you disconnect the digital twin from the physical system, it doesn't make sense anymore.
well, I mean, but that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, but then it's not really, it's another thing. It's not a digital twin. It's another digital thing that represents or represented at some point somebody, and that has his life on his own now.
Yeah, I think Bill made a really excellent point, and it's something I talk about a lot with a lot of this AI hype, and it is that these companies, they're concerned about selling you something, not necessarily giving you something that's going to solve your problem, right? So if Bill didn't know any better, he'd be like, yeah, let me buy all this stuff, right? And so once you buy it, they're like, well, it sucks to be you if you can't figure out how to make it work. And so they're probably shocked that you say, okay, I know what's behind the curtain, and this doesn't, for the things I'm trying to do, this doesn't work. And so unfortunately, there are a lot of companies, they get caught up in the hype and they buy this stuff. They can't do anything with it because it doesn't work with what they're trying to do, right? So it doesn't mesh with the vision of what they want to bring forward. But when these tools are being sold, they kind of wash their hands of it after you buy it, right? So it's kind of up to you, and that's the problem. That's the problem.
And you know what? That is a real problem. You're hitting on something that's actually massively problematic for the upstream, especially with GSIs. These guys don't know what they're doing. They're bumping into these POC walls. A lot of them didn't think any of this through. They have practitioners who don't really know what an AI solution looks like. And you're not seeing traction. That it is exactly the reason why, and we saw this with the IoT as well, people going nuts with the buzzword and then, going around saying that, hey, IoT is going to save the world and all this nonsense. They go and a couple of them sell the IoT strategy project. And then they take in a bunch of nonsensical stuff that they didn't even vet or think through. And then it all ends up getting rejected in POCs. And so that's what we saw with that. We're seeing that with AI, generative AI right now. And anyway, Yen, dude,
I got a thought. So with the new generative AI, some of the examples and demos I see, some of the differences, and I'd like to hear your thought on it, is in the past when we were presented with a solution from somebody, and then you dig in, you figure out that this took 2 months to generate. There was you guys remember the augmented reality stuff where you could see a machine work on the inside working, right? Kind of stuff, simulating that. You also had some of the dashboard solutions, enterprise manufacturing, and you just, when you dig in, you see really that it's not something that they just did overnight. It's something that they spend a lot of time doing, right? But what I see now with some of the generative AI solution is that it actually doesn't take a long time to generate something that gives a little bit of value. I don't know what you guys are thinking. Is that something that kind of resonate, or is it
Well,
just another hype?
No, I think you have a point, because the thing is, it becomes kind of the visual or the audible or the readable layer. So it becomes an interface layer. I had exactly the same frustration when I was at GE, because people were spending so much time on the graphical 3D graphs, your representation, and very little on the data itself. So if you can actually eliminate that, because the thing can tell you, hey, I'm about to break, change the oil. Then it's no, but I mean, I'm kidding, but that's the point, because we were seeing those kind of 3D models of a jet engine, and then we show that to customers. They will say, but I don't care, when it runs, it turns at 15,000 RPMs. I can't see anything. Now, when I'm doing maintenance, if you can point me to the part to change, it might be useful. So yeah, the answer is that it becomes an interface at this point. That could be interesting for that.
But I mean, the weird part about it is that everyone kind of munges the two together, right? That's why,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
When people say AI and when people say digital twin, and I'm like, and I start asking 1,000,001 questions, because, they're like, well, what are you grilling me for? Because what the F are you talking about? Are we solving a problem, or are we talking about something that looks pretty on a dashboard? Because what I want to talk about real time. I want to, how does that scale? Okay, well, let me tell you a little bit about how the hell that scales. I mean, we're talking about something that is 10 gig per second of streaming data from 20 plus data sources, 20 million events with second to millisecond latency, real-time scoring of 100 million plus users, real-time interactive map of 20 million plus IoT devices, extrapolating real-time status of 5 million dumb legacy equipment pieces, real-time interactive user interface at network level latency, and a live heat map of over 1 million users at street level accuracy. Is that scale for you?
It's that guy.
And that's just in your own house, right?
Man, you're boring the investors. We're not going to make money with that.
Bill, I could have saved you that. That sounded like hip hop history right there, where you just went through. But the problem that's being solved is that I need to sell more GPUs, man. The more cores, the better. And I don't want to hear that you can do it with some Intel gear, whatever core CPU. I need you to do it with GPUs. And as I sit here, you know what all this sounds like? It's two things. One, we're being sold stuff that has a lot of capability and capacity, but we don't even have the business problem that necessitates such capacity in the first place. That's one. And then the other flip side, which is, by the way, we didn't tell you that these capabilities are future capabilities in a future release, but they're not there today, which is the hype. Anyway, I came back in from being on mute, and I thought you guys were talking about 5G again, but no.
I mean, but when you look at it, it's like I don't get those numbers unless I've actually flipping done it.
Yeah.
So when we say that we're doing it with CPU and we're generating those numbers and that level of accuracy, a UI that renders that fast, I don't need GPU to do that.
You don't, but Bill, also what I'm hearing, if you're going Apple, if it's like business use case one, and I can do it with CPUs, I don't need to ask anything else, because I also heard my energy consumption is lower. So somewhere else, I'm also not spending money, but I'm getting the same outcome. I will go like this to the GPU company. It's like, dude, if you don't need a GPU and you're delivering the outcome, carry on, sir. Let's go.
Yeah. And on top of that, you are solving the problem. You are and I mean, I can't tell you how many times during the little mixer that we had, people were like, "You're doing this on your phone." I was like, "Exactly." And they're like, "I don't understand how it's that snappy." And I'm like, 12 years in it. That's how.
There you go.
Yeah.
No GPU.
I mean, I don't know. I think I probably bring this up almost every other session, but we need to talk about China again, right? So we're trying to pretend like DeepSeek and what they're doing isn't a big deal. It's a monumental deal. And so if people can get what they want for cheap, using the stuff that they have off the cloud, It's over. It's just over. Okay.
100%.
More with less. I mean,
Well,
Takeaway.
and the other end of
It's
it,
over.
we are doing everything at the edge. So we are at the edge.
oh yeah.
We're not sending this back to the center cloud.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, it's not a replacement. We explained that earlier, but it's in the inference level. You still need the raw background, learning kind of things. So it's a distributed model that we need to also understand.
But that's what we are. We learn on the fly.
Yeah.
I mean, so
but the brute force technique we're using nowadays to learn are definitely different from how we human learn. You're just 300 watts. So
no, and you know what? That it's interesting. It's good that you brought that up because there's a difference between training and learning, adaptive learning. There's a huge gap. Humans are incredible. There's no way that with current technology that AI can match us in what we do, right? And that's something that you start to realize as you continue like this exploration into Jensen's world of GPUs and AI. And you ask that question of how do you do this adaptive learning real time? And you find out that the gap between humans and machines is this big. You know what I'm saying? It's not trivial at all. And so we're not, the general perception that AI systems are smarter, more capable than humans is actually immensely false. They can do certain things faster, like a calculator can calculate large numbers faster than us. Well, I mean, that's pretty friggin' amazing. Actually, that's really amazing. You have like a little calculator that can use energy harvesting. You don't even need a battery. Okay. And you can calculate what is 2,562 multiplied by 3,000 XYZ, and it'll give you a number faster than an LLM.
And you know what, Leonard? You know what's not available? None of us has ever heard of a Texas Instrument graphical calculator with a GPU now, have we?
No. Even my TI-55, are you saying it didn't need a GPU to do all that? What?
No, sir.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
HP.
That's crazy.
This episode should honor Rob's cousin, Axel Rose, and shall be named Appetite for Destruction, because I think that's what's happening.
Oh my gosh.
But I was looking at the people that were commenting, from GTC and looking for, which enterprises these folks are from. The reality is that you have a lot of senior leaders that continue to look at all things AI as a tool to do more with less people.
Yeah.
And the promise, right? The forecast of the potential of the TAM of doing what I'm doing as a big global enterprise with less people is what's driving this, because in their minds, and right or wrong, when Skynet takes over, we'll have that discussion again, but they're looking out for the business.
Yeah.
And if this AI widget can help me drive human efficiencies, they're going to do it. And so this is, I think we've only just begun, and I think
the Carpenters,
where there's a lot of,
Oh my God.
there's a lot of people doing cool things with.
but seriously, I think David is totally wrong and totally right. Sorry, right. And I think you can very quickly envision that there will be a time where the pricing model will be an equivalent of cost per hour per replacing a human.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sure this is going to happen. Someday somebody's going to come. It costs you $25 per hour to do this. It costs you $5 with my AI. Buy my AI.
I'll tell you when you should start to be worried. So, Jensen, they do a great job. They name the new releases after famous people in science. So that's great. A lot of good people have done stuff, dark matter, all that. But be wary. somewhere down the road, when the next release is called the Logan's Run release, that's when you know that it's almost time for endgame. And the whole reason for building all this AI stuff is they're going to put us in a bubble. You know, it's like you get to pick. Do you want to be in the Matrix or do you want to live in Logan's Run?
Well, no, you know what? Here's the thing, though. I had an interesting conversation about this actually with some investors. They were asking me, so what do you think is going to happen when actually? So going back to all this talk about stock price, right? The biggest question right now is where's the friggin' R? And that goes back to what Bill was talking about. It's not the stock price, and so. This fixation on stock price for GTC is that's twisted. You got to figure out how to get the R, and the only way you can get the R, which is revenue for not for NVIDIA, but for the end market service providers and solution guys who can monetize the delivery of service and value. That has to be figured out. Right now, it's a desolate landscape. Okay, if you think that.
Yeah.
This is an exaggerated statement. It is friggin' not an exaggerated. This is the biggest question coming out of GTC. Not hey, how many, what's the next version of stuff, in the, beyond the 4-year vision. This is the biggest problem. You know what I'm saying?
But that's David's argument.
There's no guarantee that the people who obtain these things can do these wonderful, great things and make money and all this stuff. I mean, I agree with you. That's the big question. So,
it's huge.
There's no answer to that.
Yeah, but
I think it'll be different from company to company, I guess.
Yeah, big red flag.
That was David's point. I think the perception of the hope right now is goddamn simple. This is going to reduce your human cost. This is what they're all going after. It's just simple as that.
But there's an unintended consequence to that, because when you have all the people laid off, you have all these people laid off, they are also enabled with an incredible tool, which is AI. And you're going to hydrate a fast-growing criminal economy. People will just start stealing. And it's easier and easier and easier to do it. And there's a fine line between spam marketing and phishing attacks, right? And both sides are getting more intelligent. And then you're going to see a lot of these people who institute fraud using crypto and all these other tools that they have, basically creating a balance, right? Yeah. So if all these folks because Rob, you've asked the question, well, how are people going to buy anything? Well, number one, they're going to steal from this economy, right? They're going to grow this economy, and they will use that to buy stuff from this economy. That's how it's going to work out, because security and trust are under tremendous threat right now. And
let's go there. Yeah. Let's go right there, because that was the second layer of my conversations with all of the booths that I stopped by, was cybersecurity and privacy and trust, because you're interacting. A lot of theirs, I'm like, the stuff that we do, we haven't, they wanted to ask me, well, what are you guys doing to ensure the provenance of the data? I'm like, we have a distributed ledger that runs under the hood. So every critical event, all of those events are on a distributed ledger.
Oh, you mean a crypto?
No.
A distributed ledger.
A distributed ledger. Using Merkle tree technology. And literally you can see what's happening. Crypto my ass. This
was created before those idiots could spell Merkle.
So, I mean, I want to understand, because if you didn't build your stuff foundationally with these elements in it, then you're going to have a hell of a time going back and retrofitting your solution.
Yeah, they can't do it. It can't be done.
But man, these are MVPs, minimal valuable products, maximum vulnerable potential, which is how I call them. Maximum vulnerability potential.
I love it.
Well, wait a minute, Leonard. how did you check in? How did you get your badge? Did you use the facial recognition?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. You think I'm ignorant like that? Come on.
Think about all the idiots that did.
Oh.
A
You
word
mean
for
like
you
me?
guys.
Whenever I use clear at the airport, and I go,
No, I opt out, man. I like opt out of that shit. It's like,
wow, all right,
hell
all
no.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, of all the places that you're going to go. Now, mind you, when I responded to you, Leonard, I said the herds of people, that's literally what it was, because you could see people going, and I've never, having lived in San Jose for that long, I've never seen an influx of a herd of people like that being ushered through lines like TSA.
Yeah.
To the
And-
slaughter.
Oh, yes.
Slaughter.
To
Exactly.
the privacy slaughter.
Here comes the A5 Wagyu, baby.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, all right. I had a couple of things. Obviously the oft-used quote, the future is here, but it's not evenly distributed. That's kind of how I felt about that event. There's a handful of companies that have the billions of dollars in the bank account that could actually afford to buy all the shit that Jensen wants you to buy to build these AI factories. It's just the biggest companies in the world. Everybody else won't be able to play in that playground. I thought a good takeaway that was the opposite of all the hype, our good friend Keith Townsend over at Futurum. I'll read a couple of sentences he wrote, he posted. Most of tech isn't chasing AI. They're not rewriting everything in Rust. They're not rebuilding their stack every 6 months. They're keeping the lights on, maintaining legacy systems, fighting fires, and delivering under real business pressure.
Yeah.
That's the reality of every company in this world.
Yeah.
All this other stuff is like la la land.
Yeah. Well, David said 5G earlier. That's the problem. And right now there's a huge digestion issue, right? There's all this stuff backed up. So, I mean, it's funny to see these technology companies vilify the network guy. It's like the network guy is pretty freaking good at what they do. And they're not freaking idiots. You really have to build a great business case to figure out how you're going to go in and you're going to screw their shit up and then put in the next generation XYZ. So, yeah, I mean, and that's, Rob, dude, you're hitting on such an important point. That's the la la land that GTC has become. You know what I'm saying? And then it's epitomized by that quantum day, which I think was a disaster. And you know what really disturbed me is so many of the analysts that I talked to afterwards were going, "Oh my God, that was like the best thing I ever saw." I was like, "You got to be effing kidding me!" It's like, what is number one? Why did Jensen have to apologize? I was like hearing all this stuff about, oh yeah, he's doing this to apologize to these, making a statement and tanking the stock price of these, quantum startups that were apparently, according to Jensen, they went public using SPACs and stuff. And so he's like rattling off all this.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I didn't realize any of you were actually publicly traded companies.
I was like, then why are you apologizing? And then, he goes on to bring on a panel of people who say, oh yeah, this shit is like, 10, 30 years still out. We've been working on it for 30 years and we haven't really gotten anywhere. And we're going to need and then, so what was the purpose of that? And then, okay, we're going to talk stock price. He didn't help any of these guys doing this publicity stunt.
But
and what a PR disaster.
We here respect the rules of causation and correlation and how those things are not the same. But there's a trend on people in leadership talking about publicly traded companies on national media to try to drive the stock price. And I think Jensen just took a page out of that, right? So it's trending.
Yeah.
Horrible direction, especially for analysts.
I'm not defending the guy, but and one thing, Downs, I think Rob's line of thinking. I mean, I was paying attention to GTC in the context of, telco. What are friends at telco going to be talking about? And something that I find concerning is that the GPU guys that wants to sell everyone GPUs are basically telling the telco like, yo, you guys really need this stuff. And when we think of traditional telco computing, dude, it's super, of course it's complex, but it's so specific for, the criticality of a wireless network. And when I used to work over there and we had capacity for extra things, it was always capacity for the radio access network because we wanted more with less, right? That's the only scenario. And now it's like, hold on. So you want telcos to get rid of their baseband units and just deploy that on GPUs for more capacity? For what? Is it more users per site? No? Okay, then for what? Well, and that's when I'm like, okay, dude,
You're a salesman.
That's the game, dude. I'm sorry, that's the game.
No, but hey, look, what is more with less? What is that concept?
Well, more with less, I'll stick to a baseband unit example, would be for me to be able to have more connections to infrastructure I already built without additional investment. Wow. So more people with my same infrastructure, and I just made more money. I did more with less.
Yeah, it's called efficiency. So when you say more with more, what's that?
Well,
more is selling more.
I have more capabilities that I'm now monetizing. And I have more. And maybe that will be the campaign. Wireless company, do more with more.
And
because Jensen was certainly using the word more a lot. More money, more GPUs, the more you buy,
more money, more problems. More money, more problems, I guess. But,
first he joked. He said, the more you buy, the more you save. And then he goes, the more you buy, the more you make. I mean, it was just classic, kind of slimy sales, but he does it in such a way that you're like, but you're right, all those people in there were like bobbing their heads.
Yeah, nobody's pushing back against. Yeah. I mean, where's the PR people going? This is a really bad idea. You don't want to portray yourself like this,
I think the whole thing on quantum, he's not the only one. I think OpenAI also did that as well. But I think it's kind of like investors or people who want to put money into something. They're looking for the next thing, and they think maybe quantum is the next thing, and so they're trying to say, "Oh, quantum is so far away, so then give us the money now because we need it for AI." Or, stop all laws around, intellectual property, so that we can beat China or stuff like that.
We need Sam Altman to go tell Bill how he needs AI for substation automation. And then Bill is going to grab a mechanical relay meter and just whack him on the side of the head.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that's what happened to telco. That's what happened to telco. You can look at two of the large carriers. I'll leave them nameless for now. And they've got something called mobile edge compute that they can't figure out what the F to do with. That's the whole more with more, but I need to find out what the F more is. Yeah. Can somebody help me? We're going to put our mobile edge compute out there and somebody's going to come and use it. Yeah, let me know how that works out for you.
Can you help me? I've got
As a matter of fact, does someone have a 5G knife? I need some network slicing.
Yes. Yes. Just like Jersey Mike's. I need the network slicing right in front of me. Slicing the meat. Well, I'm right there.
So we're giving Bill the wrong advice. I think, Bill, you should not go into this AI crap. You should go directly into edge on quantum computing on the edge. That's where
I should. For the slicing, in my actual.
You know who figured out? The quantum edge was Ant-Man. He figured out the quantum edge.
So, by the way, guys, we've been talking about quantum compute for 10 minutes now. So can someone remind me the use cases?
Yes.
Pure cancer.
Traditional deep research, scientific research. exploring like how a quark works or some esoteric stuff that actually costs money and generates no revenue.
But this is interesting because then it means that it's quantum computing for quantum problems. So it's a self-referencing system. So we need more quantum computing to better quantum computers. No, but that's cool.
Whoa,
I don't know, you guys.
This is a Unix system. I know this.
This is the ultimate more for more. This is the ultimate more for more. More compute to more computing to more computing.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out why I paid $9 for eggs the other day. Okay.
Yeah. Are you
the real
serious?
world sometimes shows up, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, somebody's trying to buy a qubit.
Yeah,
I guess so.
It's a qubit problem. I love what Mr. Vasquez said, though, about bringing in the telcos. And he said the word capacity. Did anybody see the little news blurb from China where they're seeing no growth in bandwidth usage by their users?
Yeah, you saw the Dean Bubbly post.
And but the takeaway is we need more and more and more capacity because everyone's doing cat videos and we gotta. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I think we've plateaued on how much bandwidth everyone's pushing through these telco networks.
Yeah,
but
crap. You have to read that thing. In the footnotes, it says it doesn't include FWA and a bunch of other stuff.
No, you're right. It was just the average person on their phone.
Yeah. And then one of the things that the telco guys don't, especially the infrastructure guys, the spectrum guys don't account for. They don't think in terms of mobile computing. They only think about the air interface and what goes in between, a handset and the radio.
UE, baby. UE.
Yeah. And this is what I discovered just, at MWC and doing work with, folks at Ericsson. The industry just does not have a holistic view. They really, I don't think, understand what mobile computing is. It's like friggin' freaky. And I think a lot of the industry analysts that are focused just on, spectrum and their air interface, they don't see it either because they don't have that background in actually developing mobile applications. They don't have insights necessarily, and this is a generalization, of course, of mobile architectures, distributed computing architectures. They don't understand that stuff.
I don't believe
You're telling me that people that don't really know what they're doing in one area get to make calls because they know how to do something well in another area? Is that what you're saying, Leonard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to check.
Yeah, check. Yeah. Look around you, man. Look around you.
Wait a second.
It's
the telcos are the
epidemic.
Experts in mobile computing. They made mobile computing possible. I don't know what you're talking about, Leonard. They built and when Steve Jobs came to them and said, tell me about mobile, and they're like, you don't know what you're talking about, Steve. Let us tell you about how mobile computing is supposed to work. And then,
no, if they did, so Rob, I would argue if they did, then Apple would not be Apple.
Apple wasn't at GTC.
I don't care. Of course, they got other problems.
Yeah.
They got AI problems.
Yeah, their problem is that they drank the Kool-Aid.
They pitched a new phone that's totally sales are based on this AI stuff that they did not deliver.
They have so much Apple intelligence that they skipped GTC.
Well, that was stupid to begin with. Craig Federighi, I think I'm a bit disappointed with him. I thought he'd have like a little bit more discernment when he was like seeing this Chat GPT stuff, but somebody drank the Kool-Aid hard there. Strategy was good, but yeah, you know what? I think
Leonard, your Vision Pro guy is now in charge of Series AI after they got rid of the guy who did not deliver.
That's
the big news this week behind the scenes of GTC is the AI Siri guy just didn't get it done. Remember, he even came out a week ago saying, I am totally embarrassed. I'm sorry. That kind of mea culpa about how Apple screwed up so bad.
Yeah, but what did they screw up? I mean, other than
they haven't delivered all the stuff they showed us at WWDC last summer about how Apple Intelligence is doing all this stuff. They just did not deliver.
Honestly, who has delivered? Who's delivered?
That's the point. And you can actually argue that it was probably a good strategic move from Apple to do that because it bought them time. So people realize it's bullshit. We bought the phone, and since there's no other alternative that is better, it's a win-win. So I think I would argue that probably those guys thought about this scenario.
But here's is it
They
that
needed a fall guy.
but is it that the whole in 2025 is it that VR and AR to a user does not deliver, or is it that AR VR doesn't deliver the returns they want to the market?
Dude,
Which is
dude,
it? Do
did
we
you-
have happy users with some version of AR VR that is working for them, that is solving a business problem, or do we just see that Apple is not selling 11,000 Vision Pros per second, therefore this has failed?
No, it hasn't failed. Did you? It fails because people are looking at the wrong thing. Have you seen what Black Magic Designs released just?
The camera guys?
Yeah, they have a Vision Pro. They have a Apple spatial camera that they came out with, studio quality. They're going to be using this for, what is it? Spatial or immersive media capture for sports events content. Have you guys seen the Metallica thing?
No, you posted something about it.
It's friggin' insane, dude. It's like you're up on. It's an experience that you cannot have without this technology. You're like literally, you have like James Hetfield sitting there staring you right in the face and blowing cigar smoke at you. The only thing you don't pick up on is like the scent of his leather jacket and like these toxic fumes coming at you. Basketball, once they get that in basketball, all these different things, you know what? And they come out with, and then once they take whatever's in the Vision Pro today and then put it into an SE version to make it more consumer affordable, it's going to be insane. But it's a premium experience and not for everybody. And they're going to,
Tiffany and I
it's not VR, man. This is none of that shit. That's what Apple is. They are investing in immersive experiences. They're not. It's not VR, AR.
I want to take this opportunity to announce to the market that there's a product coming out really soon. It's called Rob and Dave Scratch and Sniff. When you have your Apple Vision Pros and you're enjoying, in this case, Metallica's concert, we will deliver to you things that you can scratch and will smell like whatever is on your display, whatever is on your screen, whether it's leather, cigar smoke, crack pipes, whatever it is. It's a subscription model. We'll give you the first month for free. And after that, it's only $99.99 for, a month worth of consumables. And we have 25% of gross revenue going to elevatorkids.org because Rob and I, we care. So you heard it here first, folks. Rob and Dave, Scratch and Sniff, coming soon.
He said consumables. Yeah.
The crazy thing, I don't mean to rain on your parade, buddy. They have companies that I saw in 2015 that have a solution. It's a scent creating device of some sort.
Yeah,
and they use it for it's like it used in for perfume design. That was like 2015. Yeah.
But do you see how we have just talked about a multi-million-dollar product and just reduced it down to David and Rob's scratch and sniff magical scenting machine that's going to bring you that immersive experience that, you're like, I wish I could really smell what was going on.
Real time.
I mean, next, you know what? I know what's on the roadmap after that. Is you're going to have something that's going to give you that extra sensory perception that someone actually touched.
Haptics.
Yes.
Baby.
Right?
Predictive.
Yeah.
Somebody touched you. It reminds me of a song.
For the first time.
First time.
And I mean, I know your intro could be like, doom, 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 doom. There you go.
Boom.
So
Yeah.
let's give Yen the last word, dude. So what do you think about all this silliness? Or do you think it's great?
All the silliness. I think it's great.
How far do you think we've come since the generative AI episode that we did a long time ago? Remember that one?
And yeah, I remember that. I think you've come a long ways, but I think now that the generative AI is so spread out and hyped, I think it's hard for anybody to really understand what's good, what's bad. And especially for like manufacturers out there, hard to understand what is the use case for it. Everybody's coming with their product that a year, 2 years ago didn't know anything about generative AI. Now it's all generative AI, but it's hard to understand. Like what Bill was saying. Well, why are we doing this when we can do it with our existing technologies? Like we're using traditional models, not generative AI, to do what we are doing. But everybody's coming and saying, "No, you got to change." And I see a lot of opportunities with generative AI, but it's not in our traditional world of understanding insights on our machines and those kind of things. It's something completely different. Like, for example, evaluating what our customers are saying about our equipment. Stuff like that. That's generative AI kind of solution. But what we're doing on the plant floor, there are some opportunities, I think, with operator, almost like AR kind of stuff with generative AI. There's a couple of products out there that will have you actually record your SOPs, but virtually, so that you can have somebody else go with their phone and get guided to it with generative AI kind of tools. I can see that. But the traditional stuff, it's what it's always been. Digital twin stuff, it's what it's always been. It's not.
Wow.
Well, just put a conversational, layer on top of it using GenAI, and then you can tick the box. But
There you go.
Tick
Tick the box.
Because no, I do believe it's true. The ability to ask questions to the thing and get good answers based on your data backend.
Good.
But I have a warning. Just make sure that the guy next to you doesn't say, "Hey Siri, can you lower the volume 30%?"
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I did have an example of something useful. This last week. I may have told you. So I used, and I pay for Anthropic for Claude and Sonnet, and I used it to upgrade, my Thunderstruck technology, IoT, digital twin shit. Anyway, I upgraded it, the SDK part on the device, doing the data stream into the platform. It helped me upgrade it to support HTTP 3, also known as QUIC, a UDP-based deal, and TLS 1.3 to be more secure. And it worked. But just so all you developers who think you're going to be put out of a job, there's a difference between being a coder and a little mini-me architect. You have to work with it. You actually have to steer the truck where you're going to. Yeah. And you have to know, because it gave me wrong answers. And I was like, no, that's how it would work in the last version of Visual Studio or C# 7.0. I go up and they go, and it's funny, Anthropic would always go, "Oh, yeah, you're right, I'm wrong."
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
GPT does the same.
It was almost like, they're trying to make it friendly. Almost, and it's like, there was like about 7 or 8 times when it gave me almost the right answer, but it wouldn't work right. I was like, no, do it the way a boilerplate thing would be in Visual Studio, not this weird way. Oh, you're right, da, da, da. And so ultimately, I got there, but it wouldn't have gotten there if I didn't already kind of know at a meta level how things have to work. You know what I mean? But I got it. And now I've got HTTP 3.
It's a good tool. Yeah.
Now move up to DTLS.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're going to have that on top of that. Yeah, absolutely. And so now the funny thing is a lot of the clouds, doing, QUIC and TLS, because QUIC, HTTP3 requires TLS 1.3 in order to work, which is great, but not everybody's got that combo working just yet.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's very scary, Rob, because you just decimated, the market for HMI instructions. You know how you have the non-expert person looking at the screen and following instructions on the screen? This is a problem. Like we can, let's not hand the ICBMs and the nuclear subs to the screen.
Oh yeah. That's why all the guys who thought they're going to do RAN automation by having ChatGPT spit out network config scripts, they backed off of that shit really quick. Look, it's just don't listen to nonsense. The biggest job of any technologist is to filter out all the BS. Otherwise, you're going to get your company in trouble. Flat out. Now, I just want to say that because I'm getting sick and tired of the BS, and there's too much out there. It's incredible. But anyways, I think we have to wrap it up. David, do your job.
You have done it. You should congratulate yourself. You have made it through another episode of IoT Coffee Talk. Remember, what you hear from us should not drive you to make any financial or healthcare related decisions for that matter. This group is tied in at the highest levels of enterprise leadership. We are not stuck in procurement. We know what's happening. So thank you for hanging out. Remember, if you didn't hear if you did not hear it, I can't even speak now. If you didn't get it from us, don't make any moves. If you have any extra money, donate. Look at Rob's hoodie. ElevateOurKids.org. We are trying to close this digital divide. Yes, IoT, buy the hoodies, fund the program, get kids some laptops so they can do homework away from the school. And we thank you for being here. We thank to all of our friends that listen to us and they remain friends after we talk about the things that they wish that they could say, but they don't, but we do it for them because we like our friends in the industry. So thank you very much. We will see you here next week, right here at this time on IoT Coffee Talk. Peace out, be safe.